check and make sure the clay down here is compressed all the way. But some bowls have just a curve in here. If your bowl is very curved, when we take this out of our mold, isn't it going to wobble, right? If yours is like mine with a flat base, we'll be able to take it out to cut the rim, all right? So what you're gonna need to do, if yours is rounded on the bottom, you're gonna leave it in the bowl on the banding wheel, and you've got to center it as perfectly as possible. You can tuck the excess plastic tight so it's not gonna be in your way, but basically you're going to get it perfectly centered, and with it spinning, you're going to mark a line and cut it before you take it out. You want it to be perfectly level. If yours is like mine, we can take it out. To take it out of the bowl, we need to make sure that it is leather hard. So I'm gonna pull up on the plastic, and that's gonna give me a good sense. I'm gonna gently pull the plastic off. Don't do it now, don't do it now. Pull the plastic off. What you're gonna see when you get there, you'll see these wrinkles where I had my flaps and folds earlier. We'll correct that, but not yet. Here's the issue. With my uneven rim, if I put this upside down, the whole thing is uneven. So my first objective is to get a level rim. Since mine has a flat enough base, I'm gonna get it on here, and then I'm gonna turn this, and I'm gonna use my thumbs or holding a finger, and that's gonna tell me where it was too close to me. And I'm gonna shift it, and I'm gonna turn until I have this thing as perfectly centered as possible. That's pretty good, okay? With it turning, I'm gonna mark a line. There's my line. Now you can choose the height. At that point, you're gonna cut on the line by holding the blade of your knife, and you wanna get this in at a consistent angle. And you're turning your pot, watching the knife, ensuring that it stays on your line the best you can. Now you can see we need a little bit of strength in the clay. If it's too soft, your clay would be too mushy and floppy. So if that feels too soft, you're gonna get it under the fan and power dry it a little bit before you do this operation. If your cutting isn't perfect, there will be a chance to adjust that, and I'll show you a tool for that in a second. All the way around. There it is. So now I can check again and look at the rim. It may not be perfect. There's a few areas like this. Sometimes you can just get your knife and just try to shave down little bumps. But I have a special tool we're gonna have available. It's called a rasp, okay? I unfortunately only have 5. I had to bring some in from home and dig around. I'm gonna put an order in for these. But it's basically a cheese grater. And the way it works is on the bottom, you can feel there's a smooth direction and a sharp direction, just like a cheese grater. So what you do is find the sharper direction, and you can use this tool while turning to kind of shave down any high spots. You can see the clay building up inside. So you'll just have to kind of pass these around and borrow from each other. And please, as soon as you're done using it, I have this purple bin I'm gonna set back there. Just put it back so someone else can use it. Later, we'll use this to shape and refine the rim, but right now we just want it level. We should get all those clay pieces out of there before it dries, okay? Now I'm gonna flip it over. Again, it has to be dry enough to handle this. Your banding wheel needs to be bigger than the diameter. If it is not, I have project boards in the back that you can borrow, just larger ones. So you just place it onto a board and put the board on the banding wheel. Mine is gonna be big enough, so I'm gonna gently flip it over, and I'm using lots of gentle touch with surface area of my hand. You can use the banding wheel lines to help me center it. And I wanna get it pretty close. I don't have to be quite as perfect, but now I'm gonna look for these little wrinkles and whatnot. A lot of this you're gonna be able to smooth out by just using the same techniques. Serrated rib compression, followed up with the smooth rib. And you spend a little time on that, it's gonna make it really, really nice. Fingers are always fine too. These marks, some of them are gonna disappear, but I actually notice I have a slight dent right there. That actually has to be filled in with soft clay. So what you do, you can use a sharpened stick, scratch it up a little bit. As you scratch it, get a little bit of slip in there, and then a little wad of soft clay. Make sure you're not trapping any air. And then I'm gonna use my serrated rib to compress and sort of scrape off the excess. See how it picked up the excess? And then you'll be able to blend that across, up and down, and you'll come back. And you'll be able to really smooth it out. Basically, all those things will become invisible when you're done. So you're basically just trying to get the outside as perfect as possible. Get the inside as perfect as possible and be gentle. What you don't want to do is squeeze your bowl in a way that it's going to oval it and flex it. That'll cause it to warp or potentially crack over time. So like picking it up from here, I want to be really gentle. And if I have trouble with that, I might kind of slide it over and get it back right side up, okay? After our bowl shapes are as perfect as possible, then I'll talk about rim and foot.